What the fuck?
Just like Garfield, except he's fucking shredded.
He does not look like Garfield at all. He has the head of Garfield. That's it.
It's like Garfield with the tick's body.
Hello and welcome to the Best and Worst Pictures podcast. I'm your host, Jake, and with me, as always, is my good co-host, Ian.
Yeah.
And joining us, as per usual, is my other famed knower of things, Mud. How you doing?
Thanks.
What is this show, you might ask? Well, every 2 weeks, we've switched things up. We sit down and watch a Best Picture winner and determine if it's one of the best or worst pictures as compared to the other ones. And this week, we're discussing the 17th Best Picture winner ever, which is, of course, the hit classic that everybody knows and loves, Going My Way. And to start us off, Mud has collected some fun facts that Ian and I have not heard at a time. So,
I'm going
Mud,
to need these facts to be extra fun because I know nothing about this.
take it away.
So there's no production notes about this film.
What?
There's nothing. It was literally just a list of locations they filmed.
That's amazing.
Where did they film?
I didn't read it. Who fucking cares?
It was shot on Earth.
Yeah. So it has a 7.1 out of 10 IMDb, 81% Rotten Tomato critics, 74% Rotten Tomato audience. It was released on May 3rd, 1944, and it was directed by Leo McCarey, who also directed Ruggles of Redcap, which was nominated for Best Picture in 1935. He also made a lot of what were described as, quote, overtly religious, end quote, films in the 40s. I should also note, after World War II ended, this film was shown to the Pope.
Oh, good.
So, yes.
So, yes. As for the film itself, it stars Bing Crosby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was known for the Road 2 series.
Yep.
And he's also the original singer of the song White Christmas.
Yep. That's a surprise. I didn't know mostly he's a singer.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Barry Fitzgerald is also in this film. He's a returning cast member, actually, from How Green Was My Valley. He was the boxing coach.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. And he's also on Stamps in Ireland because he's an Irish icon.
Yeah.
And finally, the last actor I picked was Porter Hall, who was in Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Miracle on 34th Street, The Story of Louis Pasteur, and Double Indemnity. And he was also known for playing quote-unquote incompetent villains.
Oh, good.
Oh.
Bumbling
Yep.
fools.
I don't like
So,
that.
as for the awards itself, because there's really nothing else about this film,
Yeah, it was a film.
only 2 films were nominated for Best Documentary this year, as opposed to the 80
25 last year.
for Mrs. Menaber a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Both of them were propaganda pieces by the U.S. Navy
So
and
there
the
was
U.S.
no
Air Force.
Walt Disney corn movie this year?
No.
Unfortunately.
As for the Academy Awards this film won, it won Best Music, which was like a song, Best Original Song.
Okay, that's cool.
Best Motion Picture Story,
Okay.
Best Screenplay.
What's the difference between motion picture story and screenplay?
That's a great question. Fitzgerald won for Best Supporting Actor, and Crosby won for Best Actor.
Shit.
But Fitzgerald was also nominated for Best Actor.
What?
Same performance.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the one fun fact I knew, is that oversight that led to him being nominated twice for 2 different things, or the same thing, I should say, caused the Academy to change their rules so that wouldn't happen again.
Yeah. Leo McCarey won Best Director, beating Alfred Hitchcock. As for the Best Picture, it beat Gaslight, Double Indemnity, Since You Went Away, and Wilson, because it shrunk the
It shrunk to 5,
to 5, and it will remain 5 until I think 2010
Yeah.
or 2009.
Mm-hmm.
As for the nominations, it lost Best Cinematography Black and White to Laura and Best Editing to Wilson.
So it took a pretty decent chunk of the awards it was nominated
Oh yeah,
for.
it was pretty big.
I know. We've had a couple in a row-ish there. It's like, it won 2.
Best Director and Best Picture, and it's like, why?
Why? Yeah.
Yeah, no. This one really was a really, really big winner. And finally, my Mary Pickford fact.
Woo!
'Cause
Yes!
There's nothing else to this film. In 1916, Pickford signed a contract that granted her full authority over production of her films, which she starred in.
Holy
which
shit.
is crazy for 1916.
That's crazy today.
It also gave her a record-breaking salary of $10,000 a week.
What the?
10 grand a week is huge now.
In like 40s money, yeah, that's
Yeah,
like
Tens money.
Whoa.
How much money is that now?
I don't know,
I'm
but
looking
a
it up.
lot.
That has to be
I'm looking
$10,000 in 1916.
a week.
A week.
This bitch was a multi-billionaire.
Oh, okay. $100 in 1916 is $2,450. So if it's 10,000, add 2 zeros to that. That's $2
million
That's $245,000
a week.
a week.
So every month she made $1 million.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
she made $12 million a year.
Yep.
Holy shit.
The fuck? What? She's a whoa.
That's insane.
Every time you say a Mary Pickford fact, I'm either like, oh, that's interesting, or I'm like, oh my god, Mary Pickford, though.
There's a third thing. Wow, racism.
Yeah, crazy racism.
Oh yeah, she's a frothing racist.
It's okay. She's a
So D.W.
$12 million a year person, so whatever.
That's
Yep.
insane.
With that, let's jump into this film that sure is a film.
Boy, is it. Let's get into it, baby. All right, guys, we just came back from Going My Way with the hit actor Bing Crosby. What do we think?
It's a film.
I don't think. All right.
I don't think either.
I don't think it's good at all. There's a couple things that I like, but those things are very few and very far between.
There's not an overarching story to this film.
Nope.
It is 3 40-minute vignettes.
Yep.
Yeah. You know what's tough, too, is to immediately dive directly into it. Halfway through was the perfect place to end this
Yep.
movie.
I literally wrote down the last hour of this movie shouldn't and doesn't
Not
need to
even
exist.
halfway through. An
Yeah.
hour in. Centers around Bing Crosby. He's a new youth preacher who's all about, you know who else loved skating in that dank cush? Jesus. And then there's like Barry Fitzgerald's character who's like old crotchety, like
Yep.
this is the way we do things, goes on a whole lecture about how a woman's place is in the kitchen.
Yep.
Old pastor. And it's like a clash of their ideologies.
Yeah.
Youth pastor is just right.
Yep.
And then they squash their beef like 50 minutes in.
Yeah.
There's barely any beef too, because they have like 2 interactions. Then he complains about 3 blind mice, and then he's like, "You're right."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a bunch of kids are singing Three Blind Mice. And then he's like, I'm going to go talk to the bishop. And then he comes back from talking to the bishop off screen. And then he tries to like leave because he thinks that youth pastor's going to take over his fucking
Which he
flock,
should.
Which he's going to. Like, that's the point. You're old as fuck, dude. Yes, you need to start training your replacement. And then he comes back and he's like, you know what? I was wrong. And I'm like, wow, what an amazing character arc of conflict and then immediate resolution
Yeah.
without
There's
any
no middle.
reflection.
There's no middle.
I have a
ground.
lot to say about the conflict. Like, I get the movie. It's a priest named O'Malley that comes from a different place, transfers to New York, and works with Fitzgibbons, the old guy, and they have a different preaching styles and life philosophies. My question is, why is the central conflict of the movie the 2 men disagreeing about how to preach? There's no objective way to preach. Even take, like, religion out of it, there's no objective way to teach a class. Like, you can't... What is his fucking problem with him trying to convert a gang of young boys into a choir, which he does successfully really quickly and easily, which is kind of annoying. But why is there a problem? I don't think there is. I don't think that there is really any kind of struggle or difficulty, except when the church burns down for no reason at the end, which is really tough.
We'll talk about that later.
yeah.
We'll get there. But aside from, like, general financial troubles, there's no conflict.
Yeah.
And everyone's
And the
just...
financial troubles get solved so quickly too. Everything gets solved so quickly. There's no
they're
conflict.
set up to
man.
be such a big deal at the beginning of the film.
After the halfway point, I agree. I think before the halfway point, if you had wrapped it up after that and made it like a nice little like hour and 10, hour and
Mid.
20 movie, I think, agree. I think it's a complete mid. It's like a 5 or a 6 out of 10.
At best.
But the way it is now is...
And then there's like a whole subplot about this girl who ran away from her family because her parents just don't understand her. Like, oh my god, this felt like the most like code era writing I've ever seen, where her reasons for running away from home are just like the most milquetoast shit. My mom says my hair's bad and I put on too much lipstick. Really? You must have the perfect home life.
So, Mud, I do want to expand on that. You know the rule of 3s?
Yeah.
Where they set something up and then they return to it and then they pay it off? They set that up and then they returned to it and then...
You never even meet her parents. She meets a dude on the side of the road and gets like married to him or something.
Yeah.
You can cut that whole thing out.
Oh, yeah.
Same movie.
Yep.
Exact same movie.
You could cut a lot of this movie out and it would be the
Yeah.
same because none of it makes any sense or relates to each other.
It's just vignette scenes, and I get like what they're trying to say is like, oh, this priest is making life in their little shitty town better, and the old priest doesn't approve. But like at the same time, the plot feels a little contrived to make him like a perfect guy.
Yeah.
Like at one point, the police find a runaway, and he brings her to the priest.
You bring her to the church to reform, blah, 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 blah. all
Yeah,
that.
like why the cop's like, oh, I defer to you, and he leaves.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, this pastor has no authority over this girl who
Yeah.
you said has run away from home. You're a cop. You're supposed to bring her to like
Home.
home. Why are you bringing her to a priest?
To compare it to Grand Hotel, The Baron needs that money that he's trying to steal.
Desperately.
That is the driving force that influences every scene and how and why we care about the characters in every scene. What the hell conflict does Bing Crosby encounter in this movie besides the church burning down?
Those ruffians really needed to become a church choir.
Okay.
Which they do
and
after
do in
one
5
scene.
seconds.
They do in 5 seconds.
It takes one whole scene for him to convince all of the boys to start
There's
singing.
also like a subplot about one of them's going through puberty, so his voice keeps cracking and goes nowhere. It's established because they're like, "Oh, we need a bass singer, and you have the deepest voice," and he's like, "No, I don't."
Yep.
And then they make fun of him for voice cracking while they're rehearsing, and then I swear to God, it never comes up.
It doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Never does.
Yeah. Also, not for nothing, but there's no reality where a gang of like 20 kids would talk to one preacher like once and then convert to choir boys.
I don't think they were like gang. I think they were just kids with
It
nothing
was
to do after
established
school.
that they all come together and do dumb shit all the
They
time.
were playing baseball.
and they broke a window.
Yeah.
Oh no, the true mortal sin.
Yep, exactly.
True mortal sin. Turkey
window.
window.
Jesus would not have broken that window. I just want to point that out.
He would have caught the ball.
He would have stopped the ball
and
midair.
the dude whose window they broke, that dude was a fucking asshole. It's at the very beginning of the film. You watch them break the window, and he starts going off, and the pastor, for some reason, is like, "Oh yeah, I broke it." And then he starts going off, and he's like, "You're gonna pay for this." And he's like, "Oh well, the church and all that." And then the guy's like, "Well, I'm an atheist," and I'm like, "Oh, dude,
Okay,
chill."
can I say though that I am impressed with the portrayal of an atheist in this movie? Because in my mind, actually, to tangent slightly, but it's relevant. The Outer Limits came out in like the 60s. It's just a less good version of the Twilight Zone. It's about aliens. But The Outer Limits has an episode where a guy builds a machine that evolves himself further, so his brain gets bigger and he gets like a 6th finger or whatever the fuck. I don't know, but it's really weird. But
He
then
gets one of those galaxy brain memes.
yeah, but then like the evil twist at the end is that he's stuck in the machine and the lever is reversed, so he turns into like a Cro-Magnon caveman. The original plan was to have him go down to like a single-celled organism,
That's funny.
but they couldn't because that would conflict with Christianity. That is not the creation of how God did it. So they had to rewrite the episode to fit and not be about evolution.
Wait,
Okay,
but
so what
you
does this have to do
but
with
people evolve from
Right.
More
That's still
importantly,
evolution.
respectfully, what does this have to do with?
My point is, media, especially pre the past like 30, 40 years or so, does not really give a shit about atheists in fiction. They usually portray them as like evil, stupid people or bumbling
I would
idiots.
say that the guy with the baseball was kind of a jackass.
Yeah, he was a dickhead.
Kind of an ass, sure, but it wasn't like a lesser movie. Like the way the movie could have gone is that he is like the antagonist. You know what I mean?
Sure, but he's still a jackass.
Yeah.
He is still a jackass.
He
I
is
think they
pissy.
portrayed him in a negative light for sure.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll give you that.
He's blustering and he's super mad, and like, the
I'm just-
pastor's like, "Now calm down,
Right,
friend.
and
We can-"
but like I also feel like a way a movie could have like done it a shitty way is like, oh hey, I'm converted because you talked to me once, like
You're
the choir
right.
boys.
Yeah, they didn't go that route, but I'm still not gonna give it. I'm not gonna give it points for not doing something.
Yes.
It's not necessarily praise. It's just like I'm impressed that happened. You know, the way it did.
I still feel like it was super cliche the way it
Yeah.
was written.
100%.
Sure.
You said it was dialogue centric. The dialogue in this movie is not that great.
Oh, Barry Fitzgerald
He
speaking
sucks.
like fucking Popeye.
He definitely messes up a line earlier on in the film. I didn't hear any mess ups after that,
Mm-hmm.
but he's not really good.
This is just for Ian. He feels like a less good Edward Van Sloan
Yeah.
from the
Yup.
Monsterthon.
Van Helsing guy.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
at least his accent was part of like a personality and like his
Yeah.
character had charm.
Like, I think that's actually just how Barry Fitzgerald talks. But like, he
tough.
sounds. I cannot stress enough. He sounds like Irish Popeye.
He wasn't very good. I don't think a lot of the acting in this movie was that great. To be quite honest, a lot of the child acting was bad.
Oh, the two kids, fucking Tony Spicciolucci or whatever.
Tony Scapoli.
What a terrible name.
What a good name.
And he brings his squeaker friend outside.
Hoyman.
And he's like, "You need to do this." And then the second the kid goes to say anything, just slaps him. Like, limp-wristedly slaps him
Yes.
a million times. And then the kid's like, "You're slapping me." And he's like, "Yeah, I am." And he just keeps doing it.
Yeah.
Like, and the scene goes nowhere.
Oh no.
I could say that about every scene.
Was
in
it
this film.
supposed to be comedy?
Yes, it's supposed to be comedy. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be slapstick.
So I think none of the acting is amazing. I think barely any of it's good. I think some of it's passable. I think Bing did a good job.
I was about to say, with all the shit we give the movie, I think I see why Bing won.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He's
Yeah.
a good actor. I can't say great. I think he's good though.
He's
I think
solid.
it was good. Good
He
enough.
needed to cry at the end of the movie. I think.
Show any emotion.
Yeah, he didn't really show any emotion at the
He
end.
does good, but he's playing like a mentor figure who's just always very calm and always has the right answer. And that's fine. You can play that character. But like when you're the lead, you should have a little more range in your performance. You know,
'Cause
this feels
when-
like it's like if Star Wars was about specifically Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan, who's just always very, very calm and understanding and full of bumper sticker wisdom.
Because at the end, when when the mother comes,
Oh yeah, he brings his
he
9-year-old.
reflects on that moment a little bit and shuts the door. Really would have liked some emotion there.
Yeah,
That's why I can't say he's great. That needed emotion for me because
Yeah.
that's the big turning. Like that's the big point of the movie for me. Bing is super talented though, singing wise. He's great. He's amazing. He's awesome. I could have said that before the movie.
Yep.
Fantastic.
a lot of this movie is dedicated to him singing.
Yes,
feel like
and those are the only good parts.
Yeah.
I agree they're good parts, but I would also agree they go on way too long.
I have a soapbox to get into about
Get
that. Once
into
all right,
it.
fine. I'm gonna go off for a little bit.
Let's go.
This film's classified as a musical. It is not at all in any way, shape, or form a musical. First of all, there's one original song for this film called "Going My Way," which is the title of the movie.
Isn't that good?
It's not that good of a song. But more importantly, how a good musical works is when the characters have so much emotion, internal or external conflict, they just have to get it out. That's when you hit a musical number. And that musical number conveys the emotions, internal or external, of the scene. The songs in this movie have nothing to do with what's going on. They're just singing church songs or Three Blind Mice. They go on forever and they do not advance the plot. This is not a musical. This is just a movie that features characters singing, but the songs they sing have no relevance on the plot. They never sing about how they feel. They never sing about what they're doing. They never sing about conflict in the film because there is no conflict. This isn't a musical. It bothers me that this film's regarded as a musical or classified as a musical because the music in the film can be completely removed and you can find another way for this pastor to relate to his young ruffian hooligan kids outside of music, like sports, because they play baseball.
Yeah. And can I add something onto that too? When you were talking about the music advancing the plot, it doesn't even have to just advance the plot. For to give another live action and also animated example, Aladdin.
Yeah.
Every single time a somewhat plot based or somewhat feeling based song comes up, the movie pauses.
Yeah.
Song goes.
The song either advances the character or the plot.
Yes. And to contrast,
I mean, a good song does both.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
like I Can Show You the World. Both.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even Prince Ali. Both.
It conveys emotion and important exposition through the song. There's like them singing Three Blind Mice doesn't convey anything about
Nothing.
their characters. It doesn't advance the plot beyond the pastor gets annoyed that they're singing Three Blind Mice.
Yep.
But that's it. You know, they sing Ave Maria like 3 times in this movie. None of it's fucking relevant. You know what this kind of reminds me of? Do you guys remember those movies that they'd show you in school in like the 90s where it's like all the troubled youths and then the teacher comes in and inspires them to get out of the inner city through
It's
the
just
power
weird
of calculus?
What
You
is
know
it?
that movie. You fucking know that movie.
I do. It's-
Stand and Deliver.
It's the one where Kevin Spacey's Mexican, right?
No.
That might be.
Is that
What
Pay
the
It
is that
Forward?
the other one?
Pay It Forward?
Pay It Forward.
Yeah.
Where Kevin Spacey.
But you know what I'm
yeah,
talking, or
yep.
like Freedom Writers. Like it feels like that, where like the mentor character comes into a town where like all the youths have given up, and he inspires them to do better through the power of mathematics or something like that. Like
Yep.
him teaching them how to sing is going to get them out of like a shitty life, or
Yeah.
like Dead Poets Society. Where,
That's
like,
a
through-
good movie.
That's a great movie. It's the best possible version of that genre.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I don't know if this is just the code or just bad writing.
Yes.
The kids don't feel like they're in that of a dire strait.
And on top of that, they don't feel like they're part of the movie.
They're not. So this movie is ultimately about nothing because it's not about his conflict with the old preacher. It's
Yep.
not about him saving these kids from a shitty life through the power of gospel music. It's not about him and this runaway girl, even though she keeps coming back. It's not about him and his ex-girlfriend who's like a Broadway singer now or some
Yep.
shit. It's not about anything.
Yep.
No.
It's funny because you could have picked any of those things to latch onto. Like, for example, him choosing to be this way of life, this going my way of life, instead of being with her, and now she's branched off, and now she's really successful. You could tell a really cool story there.
And they're both very musically
Yep.
gifted.
Right.
Like, that's a story.
Well,
Like,
what if you did something with that, and then they really didn't?
What if you decided to make money off that, you know? Because, like,
Yeah.
there's even a scene where he plays, like, modern music on the piano. It's like, that's just not for me.
Also, what does that say about him? The fact that he chose his career over her, and she, instead of being rejected by him over his career, chose a career instead of anyone else. That could be really cool and thematic, and I'm adding things to it. They're not doing those things. You know?
No, because you want to know why? Because the script sucks.
The script's so bad.
So, I don't know.
I want to double check. I'm pretty sure it
I
won
feel
for
like you
best
named like
screenplay.
3 or 4 plot lines that this movie does try and do, but you could
There's a
develop
lot of
any
plot
of
lines
them.
in this
They
book.
start and then never go anywhere because nothing's about anything.
This film won best screenplay.
Yeah, okay. What, did no other movie come out?
Best original motion picture story.
No other movie came out. 0 other movies
I'm
came
going to
out.
go look at exactly what it beat.
Because honestly, I don't have much positive to say.
I don't have
Besides,
anything
the music is
positive.
good and Bing Crosby's pretty decent.
The 40s overall have been a really bad time for
I
movies.
agree.
Like, aside from, for me personally, aside from Casablanca, I think my next favorite one was Mrs. Miniver, which is a mid-tier film.
Me, who didn't like Casablanca as much as you guys, agrees.
Yeah, honestly, it's a real mixed bag because Casablanca is my favorite so far. It's still my favorite, spoiler, so far of the Best Picture series.
What, you're telling me you didn't like this more than Casablanca?
But if you take that out, it's like The Wachowskis. The Matrix is my favorite movie.
This movie beat Gaslight for best screenplay.
It is so weird not watching an early Best Picture winning movie about war. I know it's not the first one, but it's been a while. Yeah, like I feel like more than half of them so far have been about a war of some kind, and it's like,
Well,
Or due to the war, something happens.
yeah. I'm conditioned like Pavlov's dogs to see an old Best Picture and go, it's wartime, World War II, Nazis.
Can't wait till Bridge on the River Kwai.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not a religious fella. I'm an atheist. I hate the movie. No, I'm kidding. More agnostic, really. But like, even the themes that it tries to get across, even if I was religious, I don't think I'd like them.
Well, that's the thing too. A good movie is good regardless of what you believe. You know? Even if you were the most religious man in the world, I think you'd still not like Going My Way, the movie.
Yeah, because
know?
as a film, it is bad.
It's a bad movie.
it's just, it's not going anyway.
Yeah, Going My Way. Where? Nowhere?
It spins its wheels for 2 hours. There's no real character growth in anyone because
No.
nobody really changes. Or if they do change, it's almost immediate with no real pushback.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like okay, the old guy, Barry Fitzgerald's character goes, he's like, I'm gonna go talk to the bishop. And then he goes to the bishop like off screen, I guess. Like that would have been an interesting conversation because
Yeah.
it would have been a cool trope subversion to have him go to the bishop and have the bishop be like, no, you're wrong, Barry Fitzgerald.
Yep.
You're the one who's really shut your heart out to Jesus because you won't help these ruffians not play baseball in the street.
Right. And it sucks too because nothing really adds up in the end. The only the one through narrative is the financial troubles of the church.
And then it's just resolved.
And it just gets resolved. I think to compliment it, because I'm not giving it a 0 out of 10, I think that the through narrative of the church having financial trouble, and then they finally get a big break when they make that song and sell the song and get the money, and then it gets burned down, that is an interesting route to take the story. You still didn't give a reason about the church burning
The
down, which we're
church
diving into.
literally
right
just burns down at the end of the movie.
That's why he goes, everything is going good.
Everything is perfect. All the
30
bills are up to date.
seconds
You
prior.
can go on a vacation.
30 seconds prior. If it happened a week after, I'd be like, that's a coincidence, but whatever. 30 seconds. It is this script fucking sucks.
Also, I want to point this out. The church burning down has no real bearing on anything.
No, because they just rebuild it. They get the money to rebuild it, get the mortgage, boom, done. Movie ends.
Yep, and then he meets his mom anyways, and it's like, there was no real, sacrifice here. Also,
Nope.
again, cannot stress this enough, they give no reason for why the church burns
Nope.
down.
Yep.
They don't even go, afterwards, a rogue candle was left unattended or something. Just something.
Can you imagine? All right, what if voice crack kid, his job was to go to make sure the candles every night, and then he inadvertently burns the whole church down after
there could be a
feeling
through
good?
narrative with the boys because they're, choir boys. And, normally the pastor's the one who puts out the candles, but tonight he's like, actually, I'm going to go see
Yeah.
the old guy. you boys take care of it, and they think they get all the candles, but they
Right.
don't.
And at that point in his story, what if he's feeling the most proud of himself, having been like a choir boy now, and then he's the reason? Dude, that could add so many layers to his character.
Whoa! You said layers to a character? Back off, bro.
Nope, they just don't have a reason.
Through narratives, character
Oh,
growth,
who needs
anything.
that?
The boys stopped appearing in the film like halfway through.
Yeah, wait,
Honestly-
whoa, that was big. I didn't even fucking think about that.
They appear like maybe once or twice more, but it's like, fuck it.
I want to talk about another thing. At the beginning of the movie, Father O'Malley is kind of like a bumbling idiot. Like, he fucks up with the baseball, and you remember he falls in the garden and then jumps over it and stumbles. And I'm like, oh, he's going to be kind of clumsy. Nope, he's just fine.
And then he just
Pull the
doesn't.
rug out from under you. They try to get you
That's
in.
your,
Like,
that's your character growth right there. He learned to be a more coordinated.
Ah, wow, in 15 minutes, and then it
Yeah.
stops. I don't know. I'm just having so much trouble finding things I like because the characters are so on the nose, cliche.
And they I don't know if it's the code or just general bad writing, but they pull so many punches with like the issues. It's like these kids aren't really causing a lot of problem. Like the baseball through the window, clearly an accident.
Yeah.
But then he's like, "Oh, you can't be playing baseball anymore. I need you to become a church choir so that you can improve society." The girl who runs away, "Oh, my mom doesn't like how I do my lipstick and I have boys over," and she's 18. Like, you're an adult. And then, the pastor, "Oh, I don't like the way he does things." "Oh, I'm wrong."
yep.
Fuck it. What's conflict in a film?
And then they go golfing.
And Barry Fitzgerald does not know what golfing is. That's really
He
weird to
doesn't
me.
understand golf.
I like to play golf. Golf is a sport I really enjoy, actually.
Mhm.
And they were like, "Yeah, hit the ball out of the sand trap. Here's a fucking wedge. We're not going to tell you to." You just fucking bing, and the ball goes flying. The ball goes further into the air than it could have possibly gone based on how he hit it.
And how feeble and old he is.
And then he just picks it up and drops it in the hole.
The onomatopoeia used was Bing. I think that's really funny.
Thank
But
you.
aside from that, I don't know if you guys wrote a note as well, but I did. The turkey was very mad as they tossed it around so haphazardly, and that was obviously all real because you couldn't CGI in 1944.
Well, yeah.
I felt kind of bad for the turkey in that moment. It's a
What,
very
they probably
quick
just
scene.
killed it and ate it after.
Yeah,
I mean, I feel worse for that fish that got a stick through it in Seven Samurai.
yeah.
True.
Or
Yeah.
the ox that was actually killed on screen in Apocalypse Now.
That's the one I always think about.
What
'cause
about the
that's like-
legal corpses they bought for?
Yep, absolutely.
Turkeys are like, it's not the worst. It's not like they like broke its leg or anything.
Right, but we'd react differently if it was like a puppy, because we find it cute or
Well,
not.
no, because it's not like they were manhandling you. If you're using a turkey,
No,
they were,
dude, if you
they,
watch
no,
that
they
scene-
brought the turkey to eat. When you bring a live animal to eat, you hold it by the legs, and that was what they were doing for the most part.
I don't know, it was sad to me because the turkey kept flipping out for like like an extended 10 seconds as it like batted its wings against the
I mean,
tree.
yes, that's what.
And it was played for laughs, and I kept expecting like the filmmakers and writers were like, "Oh, I can't wait for us to put that joke on screen. The whole audience is gonna erupt in laughter when that happens." And I'm just sitting
They
here
wrote
like,
the entire movie around that one scene. I don't
right,
think-
yeah, it all builds up to that scene.
well, that would make more sense than what they actually fucking did. So
That really is why it got best original stories, because no one had thought, "Man, let's put a turkey in a film before."
Yeah, exactly.
They were like, "Oh my god, this is so revolutionary. Let's give it best picture."
exactly.
Turkey in film?
Oh yeah, I like making a point, and then Mud's like, "I see the real point," and then
I do, dude. I got you. You set me up. I got you, man.
This is gonna get cut.
I know
you
it's-
are the energon that I, as Cade Yeager, puts all over my inventions to make them work.
Yeah, dude. I got you, man. I understand completely what you're saying. Turkey in film, fucking revolutionary.
Exactly. I only have one more point. I want to get this out, and then I'll just kind of be depressed. But Barry Fitzgerald getting nominated for Best Lead and Best Supporting on accident.
He didn't deserve either.
It
no.
A, but B, it's indicative of the fact that the line being between lead and supporting is very subjective.
I disagree strongly. Very clearly, Bing is the lead actor. He's in
I agree.
almost every scene.
Um,
He drives the plot forward, and he's the one mostly interacting with all characters. Like,
Right, but for it to be objective, you need to like measure that in some clear cut way, like with be it runtime or words said or something.
I
don't,
think in that regard, I could absolutely make the case it's Bing, because he's in almost every scene.
right.
Yeah.
So I feel like Barry Fitzgerald, depending on what terms each person uses to define lead, could go either way.
And I actually do want to talk more about that as well. That happening where he got nominated for both and won one of them it shows that the Oscars kind of either didn't really care or weren't up to snuff enough.
To give them credit, though, this was the only year it happened. They immediately fixed it so it wouldn't happen.
I'll also
I
add,
agree.
I believe what year are we on? 1944?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's full swing World War II at that point.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I can't imagine they're making a fuck ton of movies.
I'm not faulting like the Oscar voters or anything. I am just saying it's not nearly as prestigious and the best thing every time. Like it still might be subjectively isn't.
What I think happened, I'm gonna wager a wild guess. I really think I'm correct on this. I think they asked each branch, like let's say you're the best supporting voting guys. They asked, who do you think was the best supporting guy? And you just write down a guy from memory that you watched this year. And that way any guy can get into any of those categories. Because technically you could argue the best lead guy, like, okay, I'll put that Barry Fitzgerald. I think he was pretty good. But also that could have been what the supporting crew thought. And now you need to, as a studio, you need to run your guy as best lead or best supporting, and you can choose. I hate that. But
I do
at
too.
the very least, that nullifies the chances of someone getting nominated twice.
It's like the inverse of this past year, the 93rd, where both Lakeith and
Yeah, who's the main character in that movie if,
if they're both
supporting?
the supports. Literally, the movie's
terrible.
called Judas and the Black Messiah, and you nominated Judas and the Black Messiah as supports. Who the fuck's the lead?
They're both the titular characters.
I would argue Lakeith is more the lead because you follow
Oh yeah,
him more.
Lakeith's 100%
but
the lead, but like
he wasn't going to win.
he was. That's the annoying.
So you nominated him for the other
I
one.
get it because like Chadwick and Anthony Hopkins were in
Yep.
contention at all. You're right. Lakeith, for as good as he did in Judas and the Black Messiah, never gonna win.
Still stronger than Chadwick in that case, in my opinion, of course.
You're wrong.
But
I think comparable.
I think he did a fantastic job.
But my point is, personally for me, after watching this, I don't think there's a case to be made that Barry Fitzgerald's even remotely the main character. Maybe that's just me as like how I watch films, and I can very
Well,
you could argue that it's a both kind of thing, but it's a bad argument.
it's more like you don't have to be the main to be a lead. You know what I mean? You can have like a 6-person leading cast.
at the very end of the day, they're still top billing, and I'm pretty sure Bing Crosby got top billing for this.
Right, and that's why like if someone were to get cast as like the villain, you could tell people, hey, I just got a lead role in this movie, and you're correct. That's one of the leading characters.
You're very right.
But every single villain that's ever been nominated for anything always gets under supporting, like Heath Ledger, even though he's in it more than Batman for The Dark Knight.
Yeah, but he's not the main character.
He's not, but he's absolutely a lead.
Yeah, but I think it's more than just like amount of time they're on screen. I think it has to do with like if the narrative's about them. We really can't talk about the through narrative because there's barely one. We can't talk about plot points because they just kind of get dropped.
Yep, we can talk about all of those things, but we already kind of did.
This is directly under Rebecca for me.
This
So,
is
It's above.
Rebecca, below Emile Zola.
I'd rather rewatch Rebecca. At least that had a plot.
Rebecca's dog shit though.
Yeah.
This movie that was offensive. Rebecca's offensively bad.
I kind of want to rewatch Rebecca now that I've seen it because like, God, it's got like 100% of Rotten Tomatoes.
So
I know. I really want to retry it. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think my opinion will change much.
I want to rewatch Casablanca because I fucking loved it, and I want to get more
I
detail
really
out
want
of
Mutiny on the Bounty because Boat.
it. Good point.
So I guess at this point we're
there.
talking about nothing. Out of 10, guys, I'm gonna start 1.
Wow, that's really low.
Ian,
3.
I was about to meet you guys in the middle, so I'm gonna go 2.
Yeah, no, there's nothing here.
I don't like much of it. I don't think it's offensive. I just think it's fucking boring.
Yeah, that's tough too.
That's the thing though. It's so inoffensive that I can't at all enjoy it.
Well, that's true too, but I mean,
Yeah.
what Ian's saying is true in that you have to leave room for racism in case that comes up.
At least at that point, I'd have something to latch onto with hatred.
Yeah.
Then it'd be a 0.
but you wouldn't
It'd be
give- yeah.
worse. It would be worse because then nothing happens and also it's racist. But I'd have passion to talk about it. Right now, I'm like, yeah, this movie goes nowhere. And I've said that 3 times in 4 different ways.
For me, this is on par with like Ziegfeld and Broadway Melody and Above Cimarron.
I think
kind of bad.
it's slightly worse than Ziegfeld and Broadway.
I put it below Rebecca. This is in like my bottom 3.
This is
Maybe
in my bottom
4.
This is bottom 4 for me. Bottom 3 would be from worst to least worst would be Cavalcade, Cimarron, and Rebecca.
That's also mine, but in a different order.
Mine's Cavalcade, Broadway, Melody, Cimarron is my bottom 3.
Broadway is below more things than I would have it below, but that's okay.
That's,
I also
yeah.
didn't like
Probably
Bravo.
sucked.
Yeah. it's
So
bad.
my favorite is Casa fucking Blanca, and my least favorite is Cavalcade.
Casablanca Cavalcade.
Last week I made a mistake actually, and I would like to recorrect that. When we did the Casablanca one, I said Cavalcade was my least favorite, but that's not true. Rebecca is my least favorite.
That's what I
And
figured.
I accidentally made a mistake, but it's Mutiny on the Bounty. Good movie. Rebecca, absolute dog shit.
Okay.
We'll see you next week.
This
Yes, we
movie's
will.
close
What are
to
we
the
watching
bottom.
next week?
Next 2 weeks, actually, that's what we're watching. We're going to go ahead and watch the best film of all time, The Lost Weekend. I haven't seen it.
Neither have I.
I'm writing it down.
Sad.
So sad.
In the context of the world, John overfed him. Why is he disappointed?
This somehow got worse. How much longer is this movie?
17 years.
Comrade.
Red. You need to join the Communist Party, Garfield.
I would be shitting myself if a jacked version of me came to my house and
Just
picked
walk
me up.
through your, walk
Busted
inside
in your house and just went, comrade!
Ah! I'd be so scared.
Oh god, it's the Soviet timeline.
What is that?
What is this?
Whoa.
There's no explanation for that.
Who made that? You're fired.